What happens when the streets understand politics? What happens when anger turns into passion? What happens if everyone was woke? I'm James, and my co-host's name is Billy. Together, we're trying to figure out questions like that and more, along while ranting and raving about today's political climate. What's up, guys? This is another episode of Off Center. It's your boy James.
And I'm Billy.
And we're glad to have you. If it's your first time joining us, please follow us on Twitter at Off Center Now.
Yes, shout out to our first 100 followers.
Yay, we made it.
Yeah, first 100 because we keep going.
Yeah. Shout out to the next 100 that's coming, right?
Yeah.
All right. And usually how we do this, guys, is we'll pick a topic. Bill and I will hit it from various angles, try to poke holes in each other's argument, have a little fun with it, and try not to strangle each other. But today is different. We're talking about the big I word. I'm sure you've seen it on social media. I'm sure you've seen it or heard it in conversation in the office or at home or wherever. You can't escape it. But there is an inquiry to try to impeach the president. That is happening. That is real. And we're here to tell you about it.
Right. And the reason that we're taking it to the mics is because, you might watch the news now. There's so many things happening so quickly.
So quickly.
People testifying right now. You might be raising a family or something like that, and you're too busy. So we're here to just break it down on a basic human level, point by point. And, we might have to do a part 2 to it.
Yeah, we probably will have to do a part 2 because these events are, like you said, they're coming out so rapidly and so quickly that you can't keep up.
Right.
So we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to try to fill you in and keep it in terms that normal people can understand.
Humans, right.
Humans, because politicians are not humans.
Right.
Something's wrong with them, if you ask me.
Yeah.
All right. So this whole scandal, if you want to call it, really starts off with a phone call that happened on the 25th of July. And this phone call was between President Trump and the president of Ukraine. The U.S. and Congress decided that we were going to give Ukraine money, military aid.
Yep.
Aid, right?
Weaponry, so-and-so.
Yeah, we're going to give them some money because they're getting into a fight with Russia.
Yep.
Right? And we want to assist in that. And we agreed to do that. We did that, binding ourselves to that in an agreement with Ukraine. And yeah, there's other countries that are helping, but we're helping out a lot. We're giving a lot of money to these people. All right. The last 2 months or the 2 months before this phone call, for some reason, we don't know why,
it was held up.
Right.
And, they was trying to figure out why.
Exactly. But President Trump decided to hold the money from the Ukraine president. So the phone call.
July 25th, he has a phone call with the Ukraine president.
July 25th, they have a phone call. And during this conversation, it's about a 30-minute conversation. Go to Twitter, Off Center Now. You can see the official summary of the conversation. Do yourself a favor. It's only 4 pages. Off Center Now on Twitter. Look for the direct link to the transcript to the phone call. So, yeah, they get on the phone. Trump is giving them some pleasantries. Great job on your win. You're doing a great job. And the president of Ukraine, talks to Trump. Is like, you know what? I'm only doing it because I watched you do it,
Yeah, they was kissing each other's ass.
I don't know if they were kissing each other's ass or if the Ukraine president was kissing Trump.
I mean, yeah, you have $250 million being dangled.
So if you're the Ukraine president and you're calling the president of the United States because you haven't gotten your money in 2 months and you're fighting this war and you need this money. Yeah, that's the vibe on this phone call.
Right. And there's multiple people on this phone call.
There's not multiple people are not on the phone call. There's multiple people listening in on the phone call. Whenever a president has a conversation with a foreign leader, typically there's a group of individuals that are listening to the phone call. So back to the phone call. So Trump and Mr. Zelensky are having the phone call conversation, and there's mention of that aid. And when there's mention of that aid, it's done in a sly way. It's done in a way where the president refers to how well the country has treated Ukraine.
Right.
And in addition to that, he compares the way that the U.S. has treated Ukraine and how other countries have treated or haven't treated him. And, that false comparison is where there's leverage and there's a dangle that's beginning to be placed over the Ukrainian president. So after he mentions the aid, he then immediately follows up and asks the Ukraine president for a favor.
Yeah. He asked first he asked him for a little favor about corruption, all that bull. Then he says, do us a favor though.
Right. He makes a statement of do us a favor though. And the favor is he's asking the Ukrainian president to look into Joe Biden.
So to rewind back, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was involved in Ukraine. He was on the Ukraine board while Joe Biden was vice president of the United States. There were a prosecutor there in Ukraine that was supposedly gutting out corruption. He was doing an investigation. Apparently, he was corrupt. Joe Biden, along with the UN and other organizations, they all had to push for this prosecutor to get fired. Now Trump is basically accusing Joe Biden of having a prosecutor fired because he was looking into Hunter Biden's role in Ukraine. Now let the facts show, and you can look on any national website or any credible website, there's no evidence that Hunter Biden did anything unethical.
So back to the phone call. After Trump asked the president of Ukraine, Mr. Zelensky, to look into Joe Biden, he then tells the president of Ukraine that he's going to have his people, which is Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani is Donald Trump's personal lawyer, not a government official, personal lawyer. He's going to have Rudy Giuliani come to Ukraine and meet with some Ukrainian diplomats to look into Joe Biden. And then he also says that he wants some of the Ukrainian president's people to meet with the Attorney General of the United States, who is William Barr. That is the highest ranking Justice Department member. So,
Top cop.
All
right. So, he asks us for a favor. He says, hey, I'm going to send my people to your people. We're going to have a conversation. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, Donald Trump is the president. He has a right to investigate things, right? He has a right to look into things. He has the right to ask other people to look into things involving their country. Okay, cool. Well, the problem here is you talk about corruption, and we're in the middle of an election, and Joe Biden is the top tier candidate. So it's coming off as if I need dirt on Joe Biden so I can use for the election. That's why we're reaching a point of impeachment.
Or this is why this phone call is as bad as it is.
Right.
So after the phone call comes to a close, keep in mind there are individuals that were around that were listening to the phone call. A large number of the individuals that were listening to the phone call were moved in a really, really, really bad way. So those individuals huddled together and they go to someone that they trust. This individual is the individual today known as the whistleblower.
Right.
We don't know their identity, which is a good thing, because if we knew their identity, then danger would probably come his way, because he has blown the top off the White House. Right. Anywho, so you got this group of individuals that had listened to this conversation. They go to this trusted individual who is our future whistleblower, and they're saying, hey, we just listened to a phone call from the president, and the president basically just overreached and used his presidential powers to try to get a foreign leader to look into a political rival for the upcoming election, who is Joe Biden. The whistleblower then says, okay, well, you know what? I got to do something about this. These people have come to me. I got to do something. So he goes to the head lawyer of the CIA. We do not know who the whistleblower is. We do not know what his job title is. However, we do know that he has some pull.
In the CIA.
He has some pull, and he is a very credible source. So he goes to the head of the CIA, or the head lawyer in the CIA, and tells the head lawyer about what people have told him from the White House. The head lawyer then contacts, are you ready for this? Her counterpart in the White House.
Right.
The whistleblower realizes that the CIA agent has just went to the White House and alerted the White House about a complaint that's pending or that's coming. And so he says, you know what? That's not what I want. Nothing's going to get done through this channel.
Yeah.
So
they spent them. Or her.
So then, he says, well, you know what? I got to go get some advice. I need to go to some of my buddies that are in the intelligence community.
Right.
The intelligence community is their job is to overlook everything. They're the people who tap phones. They're the people who study the internet. They're the people who try to warn us when bad shit is coming.
You probably heard him like the Intel committee. So goes to the Intel committee because he was getting spent everywhere.
He doesn't go to anybody in particular. He's going to low-level Intel individuals.
We don't even know if we just know it's staff. They said that the Intel committee staff, that Adam Schiff is over. He or she goes to the staff members, goes to them for advice. They tell him to seek legal counsel. So he goes to the IG, the Inspector
General.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, okay. Yeah. He goes to the IG. Okay.
Right.
The Inspector General.
He's the watchdog.
He's the watchdog. He's the enforcer dog. He's the cop on the beat. That's who the IG is. Okay. So the whistleblower finally goes to the IG with his formal written out complaint. The IG then takes it, whose name is Michael Atkinson, by the way. Remember that name.
He conducts an investigation.
Okay. He conducts a 14-day investigation. Alrighty. And then he deems the whistleblower's complaint as credible.
And urgent.
We must stress that. Cop on the beat, the Inspector General, when approached by the whistleblower, said that the whistleblower's complaint was urgent and credible. So the IG then goes to his boss. His boss is the National Intelligence Director, the head spy. There is no spy bigger than him. He's the head spy. The National Intelligence Director looks at it and says, okay, well, I believe you. I trust you. The National Intelligence Director's name is Joseph McGuire. Mr. McGuire says, well, you know what? This is some hot shit right here. Like, I don't know what to do with this. This is what he's saying to himself in private, right? He's like, I got to go to my boss. Guess who his boss is?
William Barr, the Attorney General.
Again at the White House. I do not understand.
Technically DOJ, the Department of Justice, but connected to the White House because he does whatever Trump says.
Right. The Department of Justice is one of the departments that is most closely aligned with the White House. You can't separate the two. They like best friends. But anywho, as we tell this story, I have to point out that there must be idiots in Washington. Because here we are with a complaint from a whistleblower that's trying to do the right thing and trying to alert the American people or alert officials that the president and his cronies are operating in some really, really shady manner. And you decide to take the reports back to the White House. Two different agencies.
That was the right thing to do. He was supposed to go to the IG. The IG was supposed to conduct an investigation. The IG did everything he was supposed to. It was supposed to get to William Barr. William Barr is the one who's wrong.
And you're right. William Barr is wrong because the next steps after William Barr got it was to go to the Intelligence Committee.
Right.
Right? It was supposed to go to Adam Schiff.
It was supposed to go to Congress.
Yeah. The head of the Intelligence Committee, his name is Adam Schiff. And he could have been William Barr, best defense. Instead, now Adam Schiff is like Predator.
Yeah,
on the White House.
And it looks like there's a cover-up involved because if everyone is following the right way, it sounds like the Attorney General tried to hide information, get into Congress to look into the President of the United States.
So let's, just so that you get this, because this is a little twisty. We just want to make sure. I'm going to give it to you really quick. You got a whistleblower. He goes to the CIA head lawyer. CIA head lawyer takes the whistleblower complaint, goes to the White House head lawyer. Whistleblower gets upset, says, hey, I don't like that you went to the White House, the very people that I'm complaining about, and told them what was going on. So I'm going to go to the intelligence community. The intelligence community said, hey, you need to go to our top cop, who is the IG, the Inspector General. Inspector General's name is Michael Addison. Michael Addison performs a 14-day investigation